Good morning and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Larissa De Rosso and I'm a member of the Build Up editorial team.
Welcome to Build Up, the European Commission's portal for energy efficiency and renewable energy in buildings. Directly stemming from the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive, Build Up is the meeting place for everyone involved in making the European building and construction sector more energy efficient. Every month we focus on a topic that is key to making Europe's buildings as energy efficient as possible. Exploring that, you can find the latest content such as expert talks, webinars, case studies and more. From architects and engineers to academics and policy makers, we've got you covered. Build Up brings together thousands of registered members to reap the benefit of Europe's collective intelligence on all aspects of energy efficiency and renewable energy in buildings. The Build Up portal benefits from the expertise of our ambassadors. Drawn from industry and academia, the ambassadors bridge the gap between EU and national level and help shape our editorial content. Want to promote your work? Build Up disseminates your research, projects and events through a variety of channels. Become a member to exchange knowledge with your peers. You can disseminate tools and resources, share good practices, and consult open source publications. Join the discussion on social media and become part of the Build Up community, or subscribe to our newsletter to receive the latest news. However you participate, the Build Up portal is here to inspire, inform and connect. Build Up, the European portal for energy efficiency and renewable energy in buildings. Join the community for opportunities and updates.
Good morning. It is a pleasure for Build Up to host today's webinar and workshop event entitled Arise e-learning platform on BIM and Applied Energy Efficiency Tools webinar for trainers, brought to you by the Architects Council of Europe, ACE, and Build Up. This online workshop is split into three main parts during which smart building experts from the Architects Council of Europe will discuss the digital transformation of the design and construction sector. The workshop will be preceded and ended by two interactive sessions with a Slido, where the audience could participate answering to the questions proposed by the speakers. Before we begin, we invite and encourage the audience to send us their questions or comments to the speakers throughout the session. To do so, please use the GoToWebinar question function. These questions or comments will be addressed at the end of the webinar. Finally, we would like to inform you that you will be able to find a recording of this workshop on the Build Up portal and our YouTube channel in the coming days, together with the presentation slides. The agenda for today's webinar will start with an audience interaction with a Slido by Larissa De Rosso, Project Officer at the Architects Council of Europe, followed by three sessions: Digitalization to the Built Environment, the Arise Approach by Paul McCormack, Innovation Manager at the Belfast Metropolitan College and also a Build Up Ambassador. In the second session, How Does Arise e-learning platform work for trainees? By Ryan Dempsey, Research Assistant at Technical University of Dublin. And finally, What is Arise Learning Framework? By Jaap Kolk, Information Manager at Building Change. At the end, we will have questions and answers by Slido with Larissa De Rosso. And now, without further hesitation, we will move directly to the welcome and introduction for today's event presented by Larissa. Larissa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Arantxa. Hi, hello, good morning, everyone. So welcome to the Arise webinar. We will talk about our results in Arise, our platform and our framework today. And this webinar targets the trainers. So first of all, I would like to start with a small warm-up with the audience. So we have some questions for you in a Slido, and we would like you to answer it. To do so, you can just take your mobile, as I'm doing now, scan the QR code, and you will go to the link for the questions and you can reply the questions. If you don't have a mobile, if you cannot scan the QR code, you can also go to slido.com and you type it in Arise Trainers, and you can also access this page to answer our questions. So our first question is, where are you now? Where are you participating in this webinar? So we are collecting few questions. Let's see. Brussels, Spain. Where are you now? Which part of the world? Belgium, Italy, lands of the Nether, Portugal. Hello, hello everyone. Italy again. Hello, Sardinia, Cagliari. Hello, how are you? Welcome, welcome to this webinar. Great to see you all here. So we'll go to the next question. And please indicate the type of your organization. Who do you work for? What's your organization? Do you work in a private company? Do you work with 10 to 49 employees? A private company with 1 to 9 employees? A big private company? EU institutions, universities? Perfect. Okay, you get it, how it works. Huh? So yes, most of you are coming from universities. Great, good to know. Okay, is it still coming? Okay, private companies, 50 to 249 employees. Great, great, really good to know. And then I will move to the next question quickly. Oh, is it still coming? Okay, architects, hello. Hello, colleagues. Nice to have you on board. I hope you enjoy our webinar. So, okay. Yeah, it's changing. It's live. Yeah. So I will go now for the next question. So how did you find out about this webinar? How did you learn? Was it from Build Up? Was it an email? Was it social media? How did you find out? Okay, Build Up portal. Perfect. Build Up. Beautiful. Okay, thank you. Okay, there are still more answers coming. That's great. Okay. BSG project. Okay. Colleagues, great. Email, social media. Wow, nice. Really nice to hear from you guys. Really, really nice. All right, social media. Great, great. Really good to know. Okay. Email randomly. Okay. Arise. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much for that. I would also ask you, as soon as I close this question, you will see in Slido, we will have a place to put your questions as well. So please, if you have any questions during the presentations, you just drop the questions in the Slido. I will have a look, and by the end of all presentations, we will be able to make the questions to the speakers. So use Slido for your questions. If you have any difficulties with Slido, please use also the chat box here in the webinar environment. That's okay. Also, we can collect the questions there. But in any case, Slido is the good place. Please use Slido. We had more questions. Yeah, more answers. That's great. EBME, LinkedIn, colleagues. Okay, social media. That's great. Thank you very much. Now I will move on to Paul. Paul, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Larissa, many thanks for the introduction. My camera's on. Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, many thanks to the Build Up team who have helped facilitate the webinar today, and to our Arise partners from BIM, from Building Changes, from University of Copenhagen, to Technology University Dublin, Belfast Metropolitan College, and ACE and IST in Portugal, and all of the different partners we work with within the project and external. And we say external because the people in today's webinar, we see you as partners, because as we transition using digitalization as the transfer mechanism to reach out to wider audiences. It's webinars such as this to reach people, to engage with people, and to get the feedback exactly as Larissa said there in Slido, or through the chat mechanism. We are part of an education and skills revolution taking part in Europe, working with Build Up and working with CENEA within European projects. How do we get skills into the workforce in a more efficient and effective way? And it's importantly, how do we get energy efficiency skills so therefore we can decarbonize the built environment, we can take the CO2 out of construction and build greener, leaner, and more sustainable. And the tools that we develop within the ARISE project is looking at how we use that methodology of micro skills, micro credentials, and digitalization in its fullest extent so that we can reach, deliver micro credentials, micro training to partners that we are working with, and use that skills exchange. How do we take that digital transformation in the three methods that we have? Today's webinar is also part of a series of papers we've produced and they're publicized on Build Up, so go back and have a look at those. Our next series is looking at the currency of skills, and there'll be webinars based on that. But it's how we harness digitalization, the awareness, the transformation, and the implementation to achieve what we need in the ARISE project for the benefit of construction, so that we can move forward and that we can then start building and creating a leaner environment within the system. I'm trying to move the Yodi. Can you move my slide forward there, please? It's not working at my side. There seems to be a delay, folks, so apologies that I'm trying to move my slide forward. That's it. So as we raise awareness of the potential in the delivery, if we look at the traditional delivery, where it's bricks and mortar, it's pens and paper, and it takes time. That time is creating labour shortages in the market and is creating a delay. And that delay is being accelerated and accentuates the lack of skills in the market, but more importantly, the lack of energy skills in the market. So how do we get greener construction? By changing and revolutionising the training modules and the training interface. So starting with our digitalisation, we said, is raising that awareness. What digitalisation can do for us, what shape we're building in ARISE by using micro-credentials, chunking down the delivery into bite-sized learning, allowing people then to get their digital badges and accrue the digital badges into micro-certifications. And that's using digital transformation to its fullest extent to overcome those labour shortages, to make sure that we are able then, with the support of you, the people in this webinar, how we engage and build a new learning environment for Europe. And that new learning environment is not just BIM, it's not just construction, it can be applied across all of the economy. It's developing those bite-sized micro modules. So in 20 minutes and 30 minutes micro modules, people then are able to upskill just in time, what Anna Moreno in BIM calls task and impact based learning, TIBMI. If a task, you can do your training and then measure the impact straight away. And our team in North Macedonia can then look at those skills and equate how the skills have achieved a CO2 saving footprint in construction. So it's looking at that old linear learning pathway and developing a non-linear pathway for learning, and allowing the measurement and the goals to be targeted and achieved and monitored. So that the increase in skills through those bite-sized small steps, the assisted progression, achievable goalposts, you can see them as a benefit in your learning, and then the output can be also measured in savings and CO2 savings and those energy savings. And that team that we're working within the projects, within the BIM and the North Macedonian IECE, is being able now to join those dots together with the support, being able then to deliver and develop a new energy map for construction that starts with skills and have people at the center of the process. And the journey that we are looking to go on is to develop that. And Jaap and Barry, then Jaap and Ryan then will tell you more as we go into the next slides. So as we map out that pathway to transformation. It's about change. It's not about going into a classroom for 2 months or 2 weeks or 2 years to learn different modules. It's looking at changing the interface of upskilling and training in construction, using digital tools, using interfaces such as your mobile phone for micro learning, using tablets so that people can learn on the job, that task and impact based learning, and the upskilling is not a stop-start process, it's a continual process. It's a cycle of participation. We deliver effective task and impact based learning in a work-life learning balance. It's not an add-on, it's not a burden, it becomes part of the pathway of life. And that change affects everybody. It suddenly gives the great construction workers more vocational mobility because it's giving them recognition of prior learning, it's giving them recognition of the skills they have and recognition of the skills that they're bringing to change the industry. It's allowing people then to become more vocationally mobile and increase the skills efficiency in construction. And the end result is we have greener construction, leaner construction, and sustainability is at the core of all we do. So the mapping out and the transformation of the ARISE project is looking at that awareness, transformation, and implementation. And the implementation is the benefits of a digitally informed and empowered workforce, and importantly, how we continue the journey by stimulating the demand for skills, how we move forward by making sure we do that. As we develop a new curriculum, we're reaching out. We said at the start, this is a network of projects across Europe, working with other building projects, working with CNEA, working with the Build Up, and working with Building Smart, and working with the BIM and the different teams. How we shape a new curriculum for Europe, how we create a level playing field, how we then look where workers across Europe have the same access to skills, the same access to energy skills, in a new digitally informed and transformed curriculum. So we'll call out to you there, give us your thoughts on that, be part of our trainers focus group. As we develop materials, there's materials for trainers and materials for trainees. And it's that dual pathway, that dual carriageway that we're able then to move that forward. Diana Moreno in IECE is developing the linear pathway that where the skills have a measure and the CO2 output, how we close that gap. It's not learning for learning's sake, it's learning with an impact and task-based output, where we can measure not just the increase in your skills through your digital passport or your digital opportunity, but we measure it in CO2 savings in construction. And that's the ARISE journey. That's where ARISE is revolutionizing the skills interface. We're monetizing the skills interface by awarding and allowing the learner to be in charge of their journey. We're using gamification to engage and to stimulate. The award mechanism through digital badges, through CertCoin, which is the monetary skills, the cryptocurrency of the ARISE project, where learners then can purchase their micro credentials and their micro certificates at the end of the journey through the accrual of points. We're joining digital transformation in a cohesive form and bringing all of the benefits towards the industry, towards the building construction sector. That's the start of our journey. That's the mechanism of it. I now pass over to Ryan Dempsey, our ARISE partner in TU Dublin. Ryan's working on the modules and the delivery of the modules, along with Eduardo Rebello, and Andrew Hamilton in Belfast Met, and the teams there working with IST and that mechanism to join them up. Ryan, over to you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Paul. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, as Paul mentioned, I've been working on the ARISE platform along with partners in Belfast Met, and this morning I'll be discussing how that platform can be used for trainers. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. A bit of a glitch. So go back one more. Yeah, so with the ARISE platform, allows you to become an Industry 4.0 enabled trainer and to increase your learners' digital energy efficiency skills. As trainers, the trainers platform on the Rise could be used for learning materials of your database to tailor courses for specific users' classes. And as a snapshot of the Arise platform, the Arise platform is built on a qualification framework that was being developed that Yap will be presenting in the next section. And essentially, we have a system of modules and training plans. The modules are based off the qualification framework, and also as the training plans are linked to the tasks of the qualification framework. Sorry, yeah. So at this moment, I can invite everyone to go onto the platform, and you can access the platform via the QR code and the link below. Here you'll be able to see the platform, how it's set up, and also register. So there's a link at the top for registering for trainers. And here you can log in if you've already registered, or if not, you can register and create a new account. So if you just ask for a selection of details for the trainers, this is all protected information as well, so it won't be shared, but it's just to help us with the projects. So as I mentioned before, so we have a system of modules and training plans on the platform itself. So these would range from topics for digitalizations, such as BIM terms, definitions, all the way to energy efficient modules, BIM tools for energy efficiency, collaborative BIM for achieving NZEB, which we have materials from a sister project on the BIM EPA BIMZ. And within all of these modules, we aim to keep them between 15 and 30 minutes, keep them as micro modules as long as possible. And then within these micro modules, users will be awarded with badges. And then within the training plan, it will be a selection of modules. So for example, we've BIM Basics that consists of a number of modules that are in the BIM Basics task, which is related to the qualification framework, for example, and then implementing BIM strategy is another, which consists of 4 modules, and then BIM tools for energy efficiency. So we have a 2-system tier. It's the tier, so we've got modules and then training plans. So within the training plan, so trainers be able to set their training divided into several micro modules that can lead to more defined, complex and training pathways, from units, courses, diplomas. As you can see, we've got this example of BIM Basics consists of 3 modules. So we're aiming for a bite-sized approach. So that's why the modules are aims to be within 15 and 30 minutes, and then they can make up an overall bigger, more complex learning pathway in the training plans. So several training plans can share some common modules. So if you wanted to deliver a training plan that consists of, say, BIM dimensions, for example, that may be on a different training plan, and the users won't have to complete that twice. It will be checked off and completed once it's done first, and only once. So it can be done as standalone or as part of a training plan. Trainers can maximize and incentivize progression and increase retention of the learners, and then this becomes bankable and is able to be recognized and reusable for other training plans when the time suits. We have a series of different tools on the platform. So we aim to deploy different tools and teaching methods to cater for different learning styles and teaching subjects. So for example, videos, role plays, visual aids, group activities, exercise and games, interactive modes, and classroom sessions. So this is all to promote better learning experiences. Just an example of some of the materials that we've been using for the trialing period as a sample. We used short books containing information on BIM terms and definitions. We also have videos, bibliographies, files, PDFs, PowerPoints, and assessment methods in the form of quizzes. So this is an example for the BIM terms and definitions, all of which would be predetermined before of what needs to be what grade needs to pass, and also how long the users have to take the quiz. So to become an Arise trainer, Arise will be able to enroll and collaborate. Trainers will be able to enroll and collaborate with Arise and deliver and design their training courses to learners using the platform. As an individual, be competent. We have some requirements. If you would like to express your interest in becoming a trainer on the platform, so for individuals to be competent on their subject with a relevant and adequate educational background, professional experience. In email, a CV and evaluation vetting process will be carried out before approval. And the process would be to deliver our existing or purpose course training in accordance in line with the Arise curriculum. This is being set up in line with the Arise framework, which Jaap will discuss in the next slide. So if there isn't something that's on that Arise framework, it's additional themes or content subjects that isn't addressed, this can be, we can always add to the framework. It's completely flexible. What we have at the minute is kind of a baseline, and it's always open for flexibility and to grow as required. So if there was something that you see on the Arise framework that you felt you had material on, or you could add to it, we're always open for feedback and how we can improve it every time. So we'll have a schedule of training material and assessment needs to be presented for moderation and internal verification and approval for deployment and training delivery, and a moderation sample of students and achievements to ensure quality assurance. So yes, if you do have, if you would like to get in contact with, I can leave my email and Eduardo's email, and if there's anything you feel you would want to add to the platform or to the framework, we'd be happy to take on any of your comments, and we welcome anyone who wishes to use the platform as a trainer. So that's the section of the platform itself, and I'll now pass on to Jaap Kolk, who will discuss the Arise qualification framework. And sorry, I'll just I don't know, I added a QR. This QR code is for any feedback for the qualification framework and the platform itself. I've added a link in the chat. I'm not sure if it's visible yet, but we can add it again at the end of the webinar. This is just a Microsoft form about the qualification framework and the platform itself. So again, if there's any feedback or comments, we'd be happy to take on board. So yeah, so I will just pass it on to Jaap in the next section. Yeah, thanks.
I'm unmuted. Thank you. Thanks, Ryan, for explaining our platform to the audience. Welcome. I'm here to tell you something about the back end of what we developed in Arise. If you see the platform as the front end where we where you can use the modules and training plans to help your students with their learning. I will tell you something about the back end, how we linked everything together. We developed a framework for to structure the content, but also to link skills and tasks together. And this framework is, as Ryan said, is very flexible. So this is our baseline, which you see here. The framework consists of 4 main groups: BIM application, and then BIM utilization, support, and basics. And we think that if you structure it this way, you can look at the content and at your own job to decide where you want to develop in. We also had an additional goal to link digitalization with energy efficiency, and so that's a separate group which overlaps all the other groups. So every group is linked to energy efficiency, and the way we did it also helps with other topics in the future, like quality management or asset management, to link it to these 4 groups of digitalization skills. If you look at the further look at the groups, we said every group needs a set of specialisms. So and every group must help these specialisms in their development. And most people will recognize the yellow roles, like BIM management, BIM coordination, BIM modeling, and maybe recognize the pink group, which is about BIM utilization. We said we distinguish 7 specialisms there, which describe mostly specialisms in which you use the data which is in a building information model. So you could say the BIM application is how you build and maintain and work with the model, and utilization is how you work with the information contained in the model. The BIM support is it's more an IT, has more an IT focus to help the other groups, and the BIM basics is basically what we think everybody needs to be able to take steps in that digitalization. And below in green, you see 3 specialisms which cover all the other 4 groups, and they're linked to energy efficiency. What we then did, we named every specialism, and we looked at every specialism and said every specialism consists of tasks, and if you want to do your tasks, you need to be able to do your subtasks. And every subtask is linked to 1 or more ULOs, uniform learning outcome. And this is a sample of the specialism BIM coordination with the task organize checking of models, with the subtask check federated building model, and it's linked to the ULO, how being able to identify how to manage clash control, distribution, and follow up. And by doing by building this framework, we're able to link tasks and skills to content, and this is a very useful way for learners and trainers to help them with their development. And this is another sample for energy efficiency, which speaks for itself. If you look at the specialism and the tasks, and the subtask and the ULO, this ULO can be linked to a module, and you can make trainings and link trainings to them. This is another sample. If you look at the framework, we made it so that not only it helps with building our platform and linking to modules and training plans, but it also helps with within projects by linking the skills you need in a project to the people providing the skills in projects. And it also helps within the platform to personalize one's journey, and that's not only the journey, the way you learn, but also the way you make your trainings. Because with these with the micro modules we provide in the platform, you as a trainer can build your own training plans, but they're linked to the qualification framework, so you always have a basis to fall back to and to explain why and help you build your content. What we also did with the qualification framework is we suggested the whole framework. We did suggestions on for which professions we think tasks and subtasks and also the ULOs are needed. So we did that for 4 professions, but we hope to deliver full sets of skill frameworks for each profession. So when you're an architect, you know on which skills to develop, and also if you're in public administration, that skill set is different, but also it's contained within the same framework. So if you want to switch jobs, for instance, you can easily do a gap analysis and see where you need to develop extra skills on. I think I need to explain a little bit more what ULOs are, because we built a framework around required tasks and subtasks, and we said ULOs will help you on the smallest level with your development. A ULO is a unit of learning outcome, and it's the addition of components related to skills and knowledge. So you need to be able to do stuff and to know stuff, so to say. And that being said, maybe the last thing about the framework is that it also allowed us, together with the platform, to build in features for gamification. Ryan already explained that we within our platform we have this we have the ability to work with experience points and with badges, and that makes learning more personalized, but also more fun. And personally, I think learning is fun, but also should be presented as fun, because That's how we learn nowadays. And that's it for me. Larissa, back to you.
Oops, are you hearing me? Yes, I hope now it's better. Thank you very much, Jaap. I will now go for the questioning Slido. We received some questions, so I will organize here. And the first question, I think is for Ryan or Paul. Is the platform free for use? Is it for free?
Yeah, it's free to you. Yeah.
If I can come in here for a second, if all of our speakers, can we put on our cameras then so we can answer, the audience can see us? The platform is free for use. The tools are free to use. As I said in my introduction at the start, we are an EU project funded and managed under CINA, C-I-N-E-A. We work with Build Up and all of the other different projects across Europe, and it's to improve the reach and impact of skills within the construction sector to reduce the carbon footprint. As such, the platform is free to use for learners and for the trainees to improve their skills, to improve their awareness, and importantly for them to provide feedback to us, as Ryan and Jaap said, as we develop this to become an EU tool across all of the countries of Europe and the accession states to create that level playing field. Therefore, there's no charge for use of that. There's no charge for access. The more people on it, the better. It helps us reach our targets that we have to reach in our project, because all the EU projects have targets. But we want to make sure those targets are reached across Europe, so that we have a window and an opportunity and a vision of the difficulties different regions, North Macedonia, Italy, Spain, Belgium, whatever, have in achieving the skills or skills transition. And those difficulties also in increasing vocational mobility, specifically in this sector, to reduce the skills deficit, to improve the skills mobility, but also at the end result to improve the greening of construction.
Great, thank you, Paul. So we will move on to a next question. Can I add any content to the platform? But I think, Ryan, you have said something about it on your presentation, but could you remind us, please?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so we're open to, I suppose, the main areas of content that we're focused on is BIM and energy efficiency. So any content in that area we'd be happy to look on. As I suppose if you get in contact with either myself or Eduardo Rebello, and we can get in contact and we can have a conversation about how the content may be added. We can review the content, and if it's in line with the qualification framework, that's great, because we already have all the tasks and subtasks already set out. But if not, that's also okay, because as Jaap alluded to, the qualification framework is completely flexible. So we're always happy to add more. And as we want to make the platform, we want to reach as many people as possible. So the more content, the better. And yeah, so we'd be happy to review and get in contact with you as well about how you may use it.
As I mentioned earlier, Larissa, we're one of a number of different projects funded under EU for the projects for reaching of skills. Under the Build Up project, we met in late November in Brussels. And one of the things we talked about is there are a lot of different projects out there, but how do people get a focus on them? And the analogy I used is the Fresnel lens used in a lighthouse. Up until then, lighthouses were effective until they added a lens to it, which improved the vision and the navigation. So the more content we have, the easier it is for learners and for trainees to navigate through the skills and to take up the skills that they require from a single portal or a single content. And I apologize because all the comments got coming up anonymous, so I don't know who's posted them, so I can't give a name to it. But the more content we have, the greater reach we have, the greater connectivity with other projects. We have created BIM EPA, which is the Energy Performance Alliance of all the different projects across Europe that we work with. And that creates an encyclopedia or a portal of all the skills that can be pulled together for the benefit of construction, the benefit of the learner, and the ultimate benefit of decarbonising our built environment. So the more content, the more impact, the more traffic we have, the better. To re-emphasize exactly what Ryan and Jaap have said, the more traffic we have coming through the site, the more trials we have, the more feedback we have to make sure it's online, to make sure it's in line with demand and opportunity, and to make sure we create that level playing field across Europe to allow for that vocational mobility of the workforce that are going to build the new economy.
Thank you, Paul. So then we will move on to the next question, which I think it's a bit similar. Can I use the material available in the platform? Is there a cost for that? I think, yes, Paul, Ryan?
Yeah, we have material at the moment on the platform, so that's free to enroll. We're just currently in the middle of a trialing and sample stage, so we have a selection of material that's ready to use on the platform, and then we have a next batch. We're working on like a batch basis, so once the material that we have at the moment is reviewed and completed, and we get some feedback on it, we can work that into the next batch, and then we're constantly adding content to the platform. But at the minute, there's just only a selection of material. And in terms of cost, now it's free to sign up. So yeah.
Okay. And then I think you replied this, but after the course completion, does the platform release any kind of certification that can be used as a proof?
The digital badges that Jaap referred to are your certification. Accrue your digital badge. Our ultimate goal is to, through digital badging, through gamification, to stimulate the learner to engage, to gather the digital badges and gather the points which will be used as a cryptocurrency, the cert coin, then to move those into a certification platform. And that certification platform is a dual pathway. It's either certification for the workers or CPD points. That's our ultimate goal, so that the learner has choice of the pathway and the learner also has choice of destination. We talked earlier in my presentation where traditional learning and education is very linear, and you have to follow that pathway, whereas learning should be non-linear and allow the learner to have choice. That's what we're building into the foundations of this. The learner knows the destination they require for their job, and they're looking at a pathway that suits their work-life balance. And if we can give them that choice of pathway and the choice of destination, it increases the flexibility and increases the stimulation for those to engage and stay engaged in what we call the cycle of participation. It's not a stop-start process. It's not engage learning, then forget about it. It's that lifelong cycle of participation. As technology moves ahead, as construction techniques move ahead, as new technology have been introduced to reduce the carbon footprint of construction, we want learners to continue to engage, as Ryan said, in those micro-credentials, those 20-minute, 30-minute bite-sized learning, and build their own skills jigsaw into the picture they're required to do their job. We're not being prescriptive that you must do X, Y, and Z if you don't need to do that. You take the skills, the modules you need, and then you have the proof at the end of it as the digital badging and either the certification or the CPD points, depending on your journey and your destination.
Perfect. Thank you, Paul. So we're moving to the next one. Is it possible to add or change the qualification framework? Jaap, can you go for this one?
Yeah, both Ryan and me both said the qualification framework is flexible. So you could use the qualification framework yourself. The framework we use in Arise, we're also in the process of validation and see where we can add or expand the qualification framework. And tips and new knowledge is also welcome, always welcome.
Thank you, Jaap. And I think now is the final question. Again, just a reminder, if you have any questions, this is still time to put on the chat box. Yeah, our speakers will reply, but let's go for this question. Is the framework connected to a certification?
At the minute, I'll answer this one and the one further down, certifications recognized Europe-wide. That's part of the journey Europe and the EU Commission are looking at, is to create that new journey. Our digital badging and our certification is recognized within the framework and recognized by industry. We don't need certification recognized by the training mechanisms. It has to be certification and skills recognized by industry. And that's where we're looking to get the digital badging, is to work with industry, to be informed by industry, and have a certification or CPD point manual, a digital passport that industry recognize. And that's the ultimate goal moving forward as we revolutionize the skills interface, as we look to change the traditional learning mechanism to traditional and digital. It's not to replace it, it's to build a new system alongside to allow for a faster learning engagement, to increase the digital transition and digital translation, so that we can bring in new skills to meet the demand within the construction sector, to overcome the skills shortage, but also to overcome the energy skills shortage and to stimulate the demand for that, and create that awareness in partnership with the EU Commission, in partnership with Build Up and CINEA, to create that new platform of awareness. So it's certification in the traditional sense, where you have a piece of paper and learning industries will recognize that. We want to transform that to a certification CPD digital badging that industry recognizes. So the construction industry will recognize you have the skills to improve their built environment, to reduce the CO2 footprint, and deliver a greener construction environment for all of Europe.
And maybe to add to that, Paul, we're currently in talks with Building Smart International, who's looking into the RISE framework and platform to see if it's they're interested in using it for the professional certification program. So that helps.
It's that dual pathway we talked about. We're not looking to replace what's there. We're looking to improve what's there and have different mechanisms to pick that up. And exactly as Jaap had said, Building Smart, Anna Marina in Italy is the president of the Italian chapter, and she's working with the team in that. So that gives it another pathway of recognition.
Yep.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Jaap. So I think we also answer this question, if this certification is recognized in Europe. So I will move on to another question. So, hello, this program is applicable for African countries?
Simple answer, Larissa, why not? Yeah. Because the more people that use the tools, the more feedback we get, the more robust then the mechanism becomes, and it becomes more industry applicable. We talked about creating a level playing field across Europe. That's to be recognized that a lot of the skilled workers now in Europe come from outside of Europe, so they need that vocational mobility. CO2 footprint of construction and the problems is not a European problem, it's a global problem. So therefore, if the tools are used outside of Europe, they're outside of the project, they're free. If anybody's using them, at least accredit them that they're used in ARISE and accredit the EU funding, and as part of that global journey towards net zero. CO2 problems that we have, the climate challenge that we have, are not limited just to Europe or Asia or America or Africa. They are global problems. Construction is one of the biggest contributors of CO2 emissions, and we need to look at that in the European level, yes, which ARISE does, but as part of a wider footprint and a wider global problem. So if African countries or those partners there wish to use them, accredit, or not accredit them, at least recognize and provide the recognition and provide the feedback. The more feedback we have, the greater the mechanism is, as Ryan talked about there earlier. It's how we make sure they're fit for purpose.
Perfect. Thank you, Paul. I think we are ending now our questions. I don't see any other questions in the chat box. We still have 5 minutes, but in any case, I will leave on the chat box also ARISE social media. In case you want to contact us, please access ARISE social media. We also have a group on LinkedIn. So yeah, I'm just highlighting here ARISE social media. We also have a group on LinkedIn that you can also add to the discussion and feedback us with information, and also, I mean, feedback us about the platform as well. If you try the platform, how is it, how it's working for you. So here is the two links for you. And I don't see any new questions. We have 5 minutes, perhaps we will be closing the session. Yes, please.
Larissa, if I may, I talked earlier at the start of mine. This is part of a journey we have with Build Up, and it's a very important partnership, because Build Up are the portal, the window that we use to get our information out there, and it's a two-way partnership. This webinar is part of a series of papers we produced, the digital transformation of the skills exchange. Those papers are still in the Build Up portal that can be accessed anytime or through the Arise portal. The first part was awareness. Paper 1 was digitalization of the built environment. Paper 2 was the need for upskill within the industry. The second part of digital transformation was the transformation process, where we looked in paper number 3 at the BIM basics in Arise. And the fourth paper then was digital transformations, how to deliver effective task and impact-based learning. And the last 2 papers were in implementation, the benefits of a digitally informed and empowered workforce, and stimulating the demand for skills. Those papers were produced by all of the partners in Arise, and they're available there within the Build Up library. The materials are free to use, those documents to employ or use within your own work. Our next series of articles, another 6 series of articles, is again authored by all the team within Arise, will be available this month through Build Up. With the first document is looking at the currency of skills, how skills have more than just an economic value. They have a social value, they have an industrial value, and importantly, as we referred to here within the talk this morning, they give vocational mobility to those workforces across Europe. They bring opportunity, both for the workforce and for the workplace, and importantly, they bring benefit in reducing the carbon footprint. So that journey is not just Arise, it's not just Larissa De Rosso and SCE or Ryan Dempsey TU Dublin. It's all of us involved in the construction environment. How we stimulate the demand for skills, reduce the skills shortages, reduce the skills gaps, and improve the greening of construction. It takes all of the partners, and I pay tribute to Build Up for organising today's session and the next session that will come, and in producing the papers. As Jaap said, we're working with Building Smart International through the Italian chapter and the rest of the chapters there, and engaging with that. We work with different national partners such as Construction Industry Training Board in Northern Ireland and in the UK and in others. And it's this partnership, this journey towards net zero is people powered. It's people informed, and it's driven by skills. So have a look at all of the different papers we have on the Arise website. As Larissa said, the social media, engage, inform, come back with criticisms, come back with thoughts, new directions. It's how we road test the materials to make sure they're fit for purpose. How do we make sure they stay up to date? And that's critical. That feedback, the questions in Slido were perfect, and that helps us maintain that momentum towards net zero as a shared journey. So have a look at our papers. Larissa, I should have said, is in charge of work package 8, which is communication and dissemination, and she's the boss that looks after all of that end and keeps us on our road. The rest of us deliver the rest of the materials, but it takes that partnership to get things across. As we work with our project officer, Amandine Delacour in Sina, it's that journey as well. Europe needs to make the journey towards net zero, and it's going to be informed by people and informed by skills. We need the lighthouse projects that allow people to navigate through that. That's our next stage for Arise, is to become a lighthouse project with other projects. Therefore, we will have a digital repository of all of the materials that people can access. We call it DigiConnects. It's a digital connectivity and almost a library of materials and modules based on micro modules, the chunk down learning into bite-sized learning, and the digital credentials, the digital badges that Jaap is developing, and the platform we developed by Jan and the team in IST, which will allow access. So that's my closing thing as the leader of the project is encourage more engagement. It's a journey for us all, and make sure that we have the footfall through the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. So I think we will make the closure now. Arantxa, would you like to finish? Well, from my side, on behalf of Arise, I would say thank you. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for all the speakers. And please get in touch with us if you have any doubts. Arantxa, the floor is yours.
To answer to Paul, dear Paul, in BuildUp, we are always happy and honored to give voice to projects as Arise that are dedicated to bridge the gap on skills. And this is one of the main targets of the upcoming years. As our audience know, we have a full part of the portal dedicated to build up skills. So go to them and check. A big thank you to all the speakers. Larissa, always a pleasure. And to the audience for attending today's webinar. A reminder that you will be able to find the recording of today's session on the BuildUp portal and our YouTube channel in the coming days, hopefully tomorrow, together with the presentation slides. BuildUp has several webinar sessions already in the pipeline. Arise is one of them for sure, for the rest of February and for March. So keep an eye on the BuildUp calendar of events and our social media for updates on this. Be sure also to register on the BuildUp website to be able to share and disseminate your own content and follow us on social media for updates. We wish you all a very pleasant end of your week. Thank you and goodbye. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.